thought of the day is less emotional the way it was in my previous video. It's more about the current affairs. It's about Pakistan. I am a student of defense and strategic studies, doing my master's in strategic studies, working on dissertation in which I will be analyzing the propaganda warfare between India and Pakistan. But the views, the thoughts that I'll share right now has nothing to do with the academic discourse I have been doing. It's all thoughts coming from a Pakistani, someone who has seen Pakistan in all good or bad days, who has witnessed Pakistan dealing with the war on terror, then dealing with the attacks from New Delhi, towards coming getting into FATS grade and coming out of that. As a Pakistani, have experienced it all since childhood until adulthood. What the views that I'll share will reflect all my observation as a pure Pakistani, not as an academician or researcher or someone who follows a certain political party. I am a person who calls herself a very apolitical person, meaning that I don't support any party, I don't support any non-state actor, I don't support any other institution. What I do is I see the strengths of every party, every institution, and how those strengths can be utilized to further the national interest of Pakistan. Or I critically analyze the weaknesses or loopholes that how they can be overcome, all with the purpose to fulfill the national interest of Pakistan. So, as a Pakistani, one thing I am a staunch believer of, that Pakistan's character is full of resilience. That if Pakistan would be a person, it would be the stoical survivor, because Pakistan has gone through the most difficult times in the history of geopolitics, but Pakistan never broke apart. Pakistan came back even stronger. In recent times, when there was a geopolitical tension in South Asia uh, due to flashpoint between two nuke states, India and Pakistan, and Pakistan is relatively a smaller state, and it was in a war zone with India that happens to be a regional hegemon. Yet Pakistan's character that we saw manifested resilience. So there is a very interesting school of thought in psychology that is known as Adlerian psychology, or in other words, individual psychology, by the psychiatrist, psychologist Alfred Adler. And the entire thesis, the entire crux of that psychology is that individual has the element, has the spirit to strive for superiority, and it has the elements of inferiority. Both of these parallels are not bad. It all depends how that individual utilizes that to really grow in life or to stay behind. Another aspect is of this very important school of thought of psychology is that life is in our control. It's in our hand to let go of past, and it's in our hands as an adults to utilize our experience to change the course of our life. And that thing we see in Pakistan's character, applying that Adlerian psychology model on Pakistan, we see that historically Pakistan has a lot of grievances. Pakistan has suffered injustices. Pakistan has gone through a really dark times that no one in history will ever talk about in its true essence. That was the dismantling of Pakistan and division of East and West Pakistan. That division, yes, there were a lot of internal problems going on, but the main bone of contention, the main root cause that caused the division, was the enemy state, uh, utilizing the weakness, the internal weakness, to further divide the nation. That was the most traumatizing experience for any nation to go. Not only that, Cold War happened. Pakistan suffered so much. Yeah, it suffered so much. Then came the time of 9/11. That was the war. Pakistan had nothing to do with it. Pakistan fought a war on its own soil, a foreign war with foreign agenda on its own soil, and it had to suffer the most painful collateral damage. Um, there were there might be some economic prosperity, but Pakistan's uh, image was maligned so badly that despite fighting the war on its own soil, Pakistan was labeled as um, the incubator of terrorism, or or was being accused of playing double game. And literally, if all of this happens to a human being who does so good to someone, who is trying to help someone for their own problem, that particular human being is not part of it. All the blame is diffused on the person helping. Just think for a second what kind of trauma that person would get. And now this Pakistan, and come applying that on a country, can you imagine the pain, the suffering Pakistan had to witness? And not even that, years later Pakistan had to suffer another thing, that was getting into the grey list, FATF's grey list. But Pakistan managed to come out of that. In all of this, in spite of all of things that Pakistan went through, what we see today, Pakistan as a nation having a lot of internal problems, a lot of political issues, a lot of economic problems. Yet Pakistan is standing tall. Pakistan still managed to uh, secure a very important seat in United Nations. Then Pakistan stood tall against a regional hegemon, especially in the geopolitical battlefield of narratives, where the propaganda was so high that it was very difficult to identify what is truth, what is false, because the post-truth politics agenda was so aptly used to further the statecraft, with the purpose to malign Pakistan. Yet the counter effect happened. Pakistan stood even stronger, to the point that Pakistan diplomacy uh, prospered. It outshined. Um, it outshined that on international forefront. The the Pakistani politician presented the Pakistan narrative so well that the world stood on the right side of history. And another thing that I realized about when I talk about the resilience of Pakistan is that internally we might fight a lot. One party may be upset with the other party. One institution may be accusing other institution of overworking and underpowering us. But in the time of war, in the time of difficulty, everyone forgot their own internal chaos, yet stood united for the cause of Pakistan, for the protection of federation. And that I believe is a true, it's just the real element of a real determinant of strategic culture of Pakistan. Strategic culture, when you talk about Pakistan, for before the time of the 2025 flashpoint, we have always studied that Pakistan strategic culture represents its ideological underpinning, that Pakistan was created in the name of Islam. Yes, exactly, it was. Pakistan's ideology is based on two nation theory. Pakistan's policies are India centric, but this is a new element. new determinant that we see is that we might be divided, but when it comes to the protection, when it comes to the protection of the state, when it comes to the sovereignty, when it comes to the uh, when it when it comes to your own protection, whatever the division is, everyone is on the same point. Everyone is doing their work. And the army that was suffering from so much hate, right or wrong, that's not the debate, but army was suffering from so much hate, and they showed the true spirit of a hero, that despite getting so much hate, despite getting so much bullied, because being a social media influencer, being someone who is very much on social media, I observe things a lot. And while the times of difficulty was going on, it was army who was suffering from the cyberbullying a lot. And anyone who goes through cyberbullying, uh, as a person been who has dealt with bullying a lot, I would never want to help that person, even if they call me. Yet we see the true hero, the true heroic character of our forces was that despite getting so much hate based on so much false information, based on emotionalism, based on sentimentalism, based on something that has no objective basis, and getting so much hate, yet still it was army, it was navy, it was air force that stood strong, that fought the war on the battlefield, and on social media narrative, fighting the narrative, and not giving up for not giving up for the nation. And that represents how that Pakistan's culture has this character the true dignified character of a hero, that no matter how much you are getting hit, no matter how much people accuse you of things they don't know the truth about, you still forgot everything, forgot the pain that people gave you, yet uh, you stood strongly and protected the protected the boundaries of your nation, while the laymen, they were sleeping peacefully. And that reflects that despite trauma was never uh, a driving force uh, to take out hope out of Pakistan. Yet, no matter what the trauma was, no matter what external pressure was, the spirit of Pakistan to never give up is very, very exemplary. How many states that we have in the history that suffer so much wars, there's so much hate, so much propaganda, so much internal problems, yet it stood strong. It had never give up spirit. Today I attended one of the international conference organized by one of the leading think tanks of Pakistan, and that conference was very moving, that I came to know about the true spirit of Pakistan, the real image of Pakistan that no one has ever portrayed anywhere. And I believe that is something uh, uh, it's pretty high time to present this image of Pakistan internationally, and presenting Pakistan's positive image, Pakistan's true image of resilience. People's Party is doing the great job, and they should be applauded for that. And being and furthering the Pakistan's resilience, PTI itself did a great job by doing so much social work and uplifting the underprivileged people and providing them with so much facilities. That is another exemplary thing. And Pakistan has been suffering from such an economic collapse that Pakistan has been there were fears that what if Pakistan would go default, but that was PMNL's efforts that Pakistan is not able to stand strong economically. Giving example of all three political parties is that, as I mentioned at the start of my video, is that every party has its strength, and every party, no matter what the political differences are, no matter what the issues are, every party has utilized this strength to protect the state of Pakistan in the way they can. And People's Party did that by through the diplomatic efforts. PTI did that through social efforts, and PMNL did through economic efforts.